Lesson 5.7, Problem Solving Using Diagrams. Many times, if you draw a diagram for a problem, or draw a picture, or make a table, or do something to show what the problem is asking for, it makes it much easier to solve. At first glance, looking at the problem, it might be confusing, but once you start setting up some sort of diagram, table, picture to help yourself, it makes it much easier to solve. Here's the first example I would like you to read through and pause the video and see if you can answer it. And then we're going to use a diagram to make sure that we solve it correctly. Okay, there are 8 friends at a party. If everyone at the party shakes hands with everyone else at the party exactly one time, how many handshakes occur during the party? My guess is that the majority of you will not come up with the right answer, but you will have a variety of different answers. Now let's look at this problem logically. Let's use a diagram to help us understand how it works. You'll notice here that I've listed all of the numbers from 1 through 8, representing the 8 different people that are at the party. Well, let's suppose person number 1, who's right here, goes down the line and shakes hands with every other person at the party. How many handshakes will person number 1 do? Well, person number 1 will have 7 handshakes because person number 1 is going to shake hands with everyone in the line. So first, person number 1 will shake hands with the second person, then with the third person, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the 8th. And if you count it, you can see that there are 7 handshakes. So now let's go to person number 2. Person number 2 now is going to shake hands with every person they haven't shaken hands with. At this point, person number 2 has already shaken hands with person number 1. So person number 2 is now going to shake hands with number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. How many handshakes will person number 2 have? Person number 2 will have 6 handshakes. Now somebody might be saying, well, I thought it would be 7 again. Well, if you think about it, number 2 is not going to shake hands with number 1 at all, and they're obviously not going to shake hands with themselves. It would be a little silly for them to shake hands with themselves. So now, if you can see that there should be a pattern already, let's go to person number 3. Person number 3 is going to shake hands with everyone else they have not shaken hands with. At this point, they've shaken hands with person number 1 and person number 2. They will not shake hands with themselves. So person number 3 will shake hands with 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So again, how many handshakes do we have? We have 4 through 8, which is 5. Notice the pattern that is occurring. At this point, you should not need to continue showing the handshakes. You should be able to finish the rest of the chart. So person number 4 is going to have 4 handshakes. Person number 5 will have 3. Number 6 will have 2. Number 1 will have 1. Number 7 rather will have 1. And number 8 will actually have 0. Why does number 8 have no handshakes? Because number 8 stayed right where they were, and every other person in the room came to him or her and shook their hands. All right, so now the question asks, how many handshakes happened at the party? The easiest way, or the most obvious way to do it, is just to simply add up 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0. And that will work every single time. But the other thing that we could do is we could look for some pairs. If we end up adding 7 plus 0, we get 7. 1 plus 6, 7. 2 plus 5, 7. 4 plus 3 is 7. So we end up with 4 groups of 7. Well, 4 groups of 7 gives you 28. So there were 28 handshakes at the party. Check your work, make sure that you understand what we're doing, and be sure to ask questions if you don't get it. Okay, the second example that I'd like you to try is this one. Let's read through the problem together and then pause it and see if you can figure out the answer. Using a diagram for this problem will make it very simple for you to solve it. The three towns of Garden City, Scott City, and Oakley are located along a straight highway. The distance between Garden City and Oakley is 81 miles. Scott City is located between Garden City and Oakley and is 36 miles from Garden City. How far is it from Scott City to Oakley? Okay, so pause the video, take a moment to see if you can solve the problem. Okay. In this problem, there are some key words that will help you figure out how to draw the diagram. And it's right here, straight highway. If it's a straight highway, what should we draw? We should draw a straight line. So let's draw a straight line representing the highway. And now it says the distance from Garden City and Oakley is 81 miles. And then after that it says that Scott City is located between them. So on one end we're going to put Garden City, and on the other end we're going to put Oakley. And then Scott City is someplace between the two. Alright, now let's look at the numbers that they gave us in the problem. The first number that we come across is the 81 miles. And it says that is the distance between Garden City and Oakley. So what we're going to do is label it so that we can see that. So from Garden City to Oakley is 81 miles. Now, it then tells you that Scott City is located between the two of them and is 36 miles from Garden City. So that's why we ended up putting Scott City in the middle. So now what we need to do is label the other distance. So from Garden City to Scott City is 36 miles. And now we want to know how far is it from Scott City to Oakley. So what can we do now that we have our diagram to find out what the answer is? What we can do is take the 81 miles and subtract the 36 miles to get a total of 45 miles. By putting down the diagrams, it made it much easier to solve both of these problems. Be sure to ask any questions that you have on this. Make sure you understand what you're doing. Tomorrow in class, we will practice several different other word problems where you need to use diagrams, pictures, tables, something to help you solve the problem. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.